Welcome to Desert Hills, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for the delayed opening. We just finished listening to a great rendition of the national anthem, and we are about to see the starting lineups be introduced. The Snow Canyon Warriors are visiting the Desert Hills Thunder, and I am Ryan Rarick, and with me on the mic is Coach Kenny Cundy.
Yo, yo.
How's it going, Cundy?
Good, Ryan. How are you doing tonight?
I'm excited.
Me too.
One of my favorite things about region basketball season is the quick turnaround between the games. You don't have a lot of time to dwell on wins or losses. And I think the Warriors face a pretty big challenge tonight after a pretty big challenge last week against Pineview.
Yeah,
what do you expect to see tonight?
You know, it should be interesting. I think it's going to be very similar to what you saw with Pineview. Desert Hills has some really good players in the post. The Bundy gal is their leading scorer, almost 14 points a game. She averages about 8 boards a game. She's a strong physical presence in the post. And when you look at the stats from Desert Hills, you know, they don't shoot a ton of threes. They've played, I think, 8 games. They're 6-2, and they might have a total of 23s on the season. Via Fanua being their leading three-point shooter. So a lot of their work comes from getting that ball inside the post.
And that's obviously going to be a challenge for Snow Canyon. They're typically undersized against almost every team they play. And I know Coach Roden prides himself on being a man-to-man defensive team. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of adjustments he decides to make tonight. We can expect to possibly see some fronting of the post players with some backside help or some three-quarter topside defending. Another option that Coach Roden's been utilizing in the last couple of games is a 1-2-2 defense that traps the ball in the corners. So that'll be something. Another thing I'm looking for from Snow Canyon is some, this is a season for growth. They're trying to get better every game, and they're facing some pretty tough challenges. Protecting the ball has been a focal point for the Warriors. And if they can protect the ball and get it across half court efficiently and then enter into their half court offense, they have the ability to slow the game down a little bit and keep Desert Hills from running away with it early, and then anything can happen if the game's close at the end.
Yeah, I agree with that. Taking care of the basketball is of prime importance for the Warriors tonight if they want to stay close. And you talk about it being a challenge. Last week, you know, they come off that Pineview loss, the number 1 RPI team in the 4A classification. Well, tonight they're playing the number 2 RPI team in the nation against Desert Hills.
Here we go, and we are underway, and Desert Hills wins the tip, and they are advancing the ball across half court. This is Sade Turlington entering the ball to Bundy. There's a 1-4 setup, and they enter the high post, and the wing immediately back cuts. Good attack to the basket for the Thunder, and Natalie Olsen comes over to help on the defense. Looked like she was going to get there in time, and typically referees will give that call a foul when you swing your arm like that. Natalie blocked
got
the
to do a
shot.
little bit better job of walling up on there, but that was a good play from the Thunder to hit that back door. And, you know, Bundy's going to be a hard girl to get around to try to even put some pressure on that pass that they caught there at the high post.
She did a good job of establishing position early and sealing her defender. Desert Hills knocks down both of their free throws, and Snow Canyon enters the ball. Taylor Whitehead bringing the ball across half court. Swings the ball over to Tyler Mooring. Mooring at the top of the key, looks to attack off the dribble. She's attacking Bundy, kicks the ball over to Natalie Olsen. Olsen takes the 3 early. The shot's long, but Kenna Staley ends up with the rebound. Ball is lost in a little bit of a scrum, and Desert Hills is now in transition. And they are a little bit flustered in the transition and turn the ball over. Snow Canyon will regain possession.
Yeah, it looks like they want to push that ball quick, and we were talking about this last week when we were doing the game. Warriors have got to do a better job of finding Tyler Moore and get her some more looks and touches on offense if they want to be able to compete with some of these better teams in region.
She is a key to the offensive focal point. She attacked. Great move by Natalie Olsen right there. Good recovery by the Thunder defender to block the shot. Looks like if Natalie would have gone and protected the ball with her body, she may have been able to finish with a layup off the backboard, but nevertheless a good attack. Whitehead attacks into the middle, kicks out to Staley. Staley attacks to the baseline, loses the ball in a jump stop attempt. She looked like she was trying to pass it into the post. And in transition, Bundy does a good job getting down the court. Desert Hills advances the ball, and an easy 2 for Bundy.
You know, when your posts will run the floor like that, transition becomes a heck of a lot easier.
It's one of the fundamental, three-pointer from Staley in the corner. Warriors are showing some good attack early and kicking out to the open shooters. One of the oldest fundamentals of basketball that coaches have always stressed to their guards is if a post player sprints the floor, you need to reward that player, get them the ball early. And then if you do that early, the attention goes to the post, and that opens up the guard play later on in the game. Snow Canyon with the ball in the half court, Mooring with the ball in the wing, looking, dribbling across, swings it over to Talon. Talon at the top of the key, looking to attack off the dribble, kicks back to Staley in the corner. Staley swings it up to Olsen, looking to reverse the court. She attacks off the dribble, but goes strong to the basket. Olsen beat her defender off the dribble. Bundy was there for the help side. And Olsen, who may have been...
Yeah, she
may have received the beneficiary of the
was straight
opposite
up
call.
on that call, just got there a step too late. Didn't establish that position early enough, so picked up a foul. And, you know, like we were saying earlier, that's their leading scorer. That's a big threat for them underneath. If they can get her in some early foul trouble, that could change the dynamics of things going on tonight.
You know, one of the things I'm liking from what I'm seeing from the Warriors is that they're not playing with any type of timidness or fear, even though they're going up against a team that is predicted to be, you know, superior, have a higher talent level. But we're going right at the basket over and over again. There's that entry pass from the high post to the opposite wing cutter, and it actually looked like Snow Canyon knew what to expect. They just didn't get to the ball in time. Taylor Whitehead almost had a steal. Speaking of Taylor, she attacks, goes up, draws a little bit of contact, does not get the foul call, but almost puts the ball in, misses it. Early in the game, 5.5 left to go in the first quarter, and Desert Hills leads Snow Canyon 6-5. And we apologize, the scoreboard app is not working at Desert Hills. They use a different scoreboard than what our software is set up to deliver. So you will for sure see the score at Snow Canyon games, but not
Tyler
possibly
getting a
not
little
at away
antsy
games.
on that one right there and shuffled those feet.
She changed her mind halfway through, it looked like.
Lealau subbing in for the Warriors, taking Cundy out of the game. Lealau, pretty good shooter for the Warriors. Coach Roden might be looking to maybe spread some things out and make some of these bigs guard that three-point line a little bit more.
She has been a solid addition to the Warriors since she's been inserted into the lineup. There's an attack for the Thunder, and we talked about this earlier with those late rotations.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, it's a strong attack, it's an aggressive attack by the Thunder, but did not appear as if that ball was, if that attack was under a lot of control. So it's like the Warriors bailed her out on that with a late rotation.
Unfortunately for Natalie, that's her second foul, and that's a big offensive weapon that's going to be taken out for a little bit of a breather here to rest for those fouls.
We're going to see an early entry into the game is Lainey Levitt. She is somebody who's not typically gotten a lot of varsity playing time, so it's interesting to see her with 5 minutes to go in the first quarter entering into the game. I know she plays a lot of JV. I was not here for the JV game. Perhaps she had a really strong game there, and she's also somebody that's a very solid shooter, so perhaps Coach Roden attempting to spread the floor.
I think when you were coaching, wasn't her sister playing for you?
Yeah, Lexi played for me, and she was a varsity starter a couple of years and dealt with some injuries, but was always a super athletic, aggressive player. Taylor Whitehead with a great attack off the wing and puts the ball up and in. That ties the score at 7 apiece. About halfway through the first quarter, Warriors and Thunder tied at 7. Warriors are in that man-to-man defense. It's like Laney got a little bit, lost her the person she was guarding right there. And Desert Hills has made Snow Canyon pay 6 of the 9 points, actually 8 of the 9. They go 1 for 2 on a free throw earlier.
There's 3 free throws right now, 3 baskets at the rim.
And all of them are on those back cuts from entering into the high post.
Like we were saying earlier, they're not hitting a lot of threes this year. Most of their work is going to come from the inside.
So Laney redeems herself a little bit from the lapsed defensive assignment, and she attacks off the dribble. It was interesting. She's going left, attacking with her right hand, pulls a little James Harden-esque move where she goes up hard, shoots the ball with her right hand underneath the defender's arms, and somehow that ball rockets off the backboard and goes in. And she gets an and one, so the game is tied at 9 apiece. Laney at the line to attempt a free throw to give the Warriors an early lead.
And while she's shooting that free throw, Makari Wong just checked in for Taylor Whitehead, giving her a breather.
Free throw is a little short, so the score remains tied at 9 apiece. Staley guarding out on the perimeter. Desert Hills establishes deep position. Jacobson establishing deep position very early in the middle of the paint. And that'll be a point of emphasis for Coach Roden. One of the most difficult things for post players to remember is when they're retreating back on defense. It can't just be like a leisure jog. especially against a team like this that wants to establish position. You have to meet the post players early, like at the free throw line, and then make them battle for position the entire way down the floor.
Yeah, you can tell that they've been taught really well. That was a great post-up position from Jacobson down there for the Thunder. And like you were mentioning earlier, Roden may have to make sure that these girls are trying to get around and fronting and not letting it be so easy for them to catch in the post.
I was equally impressed with the entry pass from about 30 feet, which is something that's not an easy skill. 2 quick baskets for the Thunder, and they assume a 4-point lead. Staley with a 3-point attempt from the top of the key, and she's hit her first 2 3-point attempts. Snow Canyon's keeping it close. 3 minutes to go in the first quarter. They trail by 1 point to the second-ranked Thunder. Coach Roden calls a quick timeout, assuming he's going to make a defensive adjustment here after 13 points all coming from underneath the basket. A lot of cross-screen action down there and early post establishment.
Yeah, I think like you were talking about, we just have to make sure that we watch those back cuts when they go to that high post, and we've got to fix the way we're defending in the post.
Yeah.
But to see Staley come out and hit her first 2 threes,
that's going to open up the court for the offense.
Absolutely.
Quick shout out to our sponsors, Ants Dentistry, Levitt and Associates, Bucks Ace Hardware, Tonaquint Data Center. Thank you for making this broadcast possible. And, going back to that defense, looks like Tapasa enters the game for the Warriors, and she is going to defend the low under the basket. It looks like it looked like we were in a zone, but that just might be our help side defense.
There's
right there.
Great seal on the backside right there.
Yep. That's it's like a game of chess, right? It looks like Desert Hills is 2 moves ahead, where they're sealing on the backside when the ball is on the opposite side, and then a quick reversal, and now all of a sudden you've got your defender sealed ball side. It was a great post up by Bundy. She puts the ball in. Wong kicks the ball over to Leia Lau. Leia Lau rattles in a 3. Snow Canyon is on fire from the 3-point line right now, and the game's tied up at 15 apiece with 2.5 minutes. A good attack for Sade Turlington, and she gives the Thunder 2 more. It's a battle of opposing styles right now. Almost all of Snow Canyon's points are coming from the perimeter, and almost all of Desert Hills' points are coming from under the basket. And while it's fun and exciting to see Snow Canyon hit some outside shots, that's the type of offense that's less likely to last throughout the game, whereas the Desert Hills offense underneath the basket is something that is more likely to last.
Tyler's still down on that drive that she took, and we're the beneficiaries of a fortunate foul call against Bundy, which is her second. And we just hope that Tyler's okay.
She made a strong attack from the wing and got her feet tangled up. It looked like, I'm not sure.
Maybe she banged her head as she fell. At least it's not a knee or an ankle. Those are the ones that you kind of worry about, especially in basketball.
Yeah, and it looks like she was attempting to, Coach Roden in his offense, he calls him a dump pass. It's what we were just talking about with Desert Hills. Coach Roden likes to have his post players set up on the opposite block from the ball so that when they attack the basket, the help side steps over and you throw a little dump pass for a layup for the post player, and I think that's what Tyler was attempting to do. Strong attack by Natalie Olson. And Natalie's just a sophomore. She's clearly a talented basketball player, and she's aggressive. Those are the kind of shots that a year of experience are going to change the outcomes. Oof. Foul called on the Warriors.
That's a tough foul call right there against the Warriors. It's going to be Olson's 3rd. Looked like she was doing a pretty good job playing some post defense there, and ref calls her for a hold there on the backside.
She's going to be replaced by Olivia Cundy, and her sister, Natalie's twin, Jocelyn, has entered the game as well. We're seeing an interesting a shift in player rotations for Coach Roden. We have some players entering the game that have not previously played a lot of varsity time. Lainey Levitt and Jocelyn Olson being 2 of them. Snow Canyon fails to get the defensive rebound, and as is oft to happen when a team gets an offensive rebound, the defense then tries to block the shot and gets called for a foul. Desert Hills misses the free throw. They still maintain a 4-point lead, 19-15, 1.5 minutes left in the first quarter. Taylon Whitehead handling the ball at the top of the key, looking to get the Warriors started into a 5-out offense. They are spreading things out right now. However, Bundy's out of the game, so we're looking to see if that will open up some attacking lanes. There's a good attack from Taylon. The shot's a little strong. Jacobson is assuming the role of defending the interior for the Thunder. Sade Turlington makes a nice attack and a spin move, kicks it to the opposite wing. There's a long-range shot for Desert Hills, and now it's 22-15, and Whitehead is stranded on the opposite end of the floor.
That would be the girl that they need to make sure that they guard is Via Fanua, because she leads their team in three-point shooting. Got to get out on that shooter in transition. And up to this point, I thought they'd been doing a pretty good job at their defensive transition. Just ended up losing her in that mix right there.
Coach Roden is not happy, and he is super happy that he's wearing a mask right now. So he, maybe he's changed things from when I coached with him, but he was always very specific about which player would inbound the ball, and it typically wasn't the point guard because you didn't want that situation to happen. The point guard takes the ball out of bounds.
Right.
Everybody else thinks, I don't bring the ball down the floor. They run across half court, and then our point guard's standing there with their arms out, wondering where everybody is, and we had a 5-second violation. Turnover was it a turnover? I was talking a second ago.
It was a foul called against Desert Hills there for reaching in on Tapasa's rebound.
Okay, so Tapasa strong with the rebound. Cundy looking to attack off the wing, bobbles the ball a little bit, gets it back to Whitehead. Whitehead attacks left to the baseline. I like the idea behind what Snow Canyon's trying to do, but we need to be a little bit more composed with it. They understand the principles that when they attack off the wing that the post is often going to be open on the opposite side, but we're throwing it before our post is able to establish position, and Desert Hills is doing a lot of backside help, so it may not be the post who's open for us. It's going to be the opposite wings. A little bit of a scramble on the inbounds. Tapasa gets it, gives it to Whitehead. Whitehead loses it, and Desert Hills scores in transition, extending their lead to 24-15 with 13 seconds left in the quarter. Whitehead brings the ball across half court, looking to get a bucket before the end of the quarter for the Warriors.
And I'm with you on what the Warriors are trying to do offensively. They just need to relax a little bit as they're trying to drive. They're trying to force a little bit out of control.
Whitehead attempts a three at the buzzer that goes wide, and what started off as a close game is now a 9-point lead. Although that being said, it could have been far worse without Snow Canyon hitting some of those outside shots and losing Mooring. We have not seen her come back into the game since she took a break. And speaking of that, she just went to the scorer's table to check back in, so it's good to see her back.
Yeah, good to see that she's good. And, you know, Desert Hills can score, and Desert Hills scores in bunches. In their first two region games, Desert Hills has won by 25 points against Crimson and against Canyon View, and they've scored almost 75 in one of them, and I think it was 68 in the other. So Desert Hills can score points, and they can score a lot of points.
And you can see what's their tactics may seem foreign to anybody that's a new fan of basketball that watches the NBA or even some of the high-level college. And once you get to that level where everybody's skilled, the most of the offense comes from the perimeter these days. But Desert Hills is playing an old-school style of basketball where they're running their post right down to the block, they're entering it to the post, and they're daring to be stopped. And right now, there was one three-point attempt, there were several free throws, but even the free throws were results from attacks that were right under the basket. If we were able to show a shot chart for Desert Hills, it would be everything right under the basket. And for Snow Canyon, the shots were scattered. And not that outside shots, there's a problem with them, especially Snow Canyon, a lot of the ones they hit came from penetration kickouts.
Correct.
But it's just not a super sustainable model to get 80, 90% of your points from beyond the three-point line. So Snow Canyon's going to have to look for opportunities to score maybe in transition and in the half court, and they're going to have to figure out how to defend the basket.
Again, the thing that's hurting them is the turnovers, that, kind of full-speed penetration where we're not quite sure we can handle that ball, turnovers, and right there a missed catch on the wing by Lealau, yeah, and it's just another turnover. Looks like the Warriors have gone to a little 2-3 zone here.
Yeah, looks like it's a matchup. Ooh, Staley took an elbow to the face on that defense, but she jumps right back up. Her dad would be proud.
No foul called on that, just a little bit of a turnover there from Desert Hills. I thought that Staley did a really good job sliding over into that space and taking away that penetration angle.
Defensive positioning was solid right there for the Warriors, so that was one of the things we challenged them, and they were able to defend in the interior. Yep. Whitehead dribble handoff to Mooring. Mooring looks to dribble handoff to Cundy, instead swings it over to Whitehead. Whitehead attacks, gets into the middle of the paint. Ball off the backboard and rolls out, and Desert Hills is in transition. They advance the ball. layups miss, but they get their own rebound. Jump shots miss. Leila with the rebound, and now she's advancing the ball.
Again, though,
And
you see on the Warriors' penetration there, it's just a little bit, chaotic. It's a little bit hurried. It doesn't look like they're really under control with what they're trying to do penetration-wise here.
one of the things that I would emphasize when I was coaching is, and Leila hits a three from the corner. There we go. Whitehead attacks from the wing, draws the corner defender, throws a quick pass out to Leila. And just like that, Desert Hills, after a made basket, beats Snow Canyon down the floor and is shooting a layup. And they get fouled. Going back to my previous thought, one of the things that I would stress when I was coaching is attack to create for other people. A lot of times, people who are great attackers they're only thinking one move ahead. How do I beat this defender? But what they're failing to recognize is when you beat your own defender, defenses are designed to help each other. And so you're going to have multiple defenders rotating over, and if your only thought was, I need to beat this first person, then you get stuck, and that's when we get some of those shots that we're not, shots where we weren't planning on shooting, but now we have to because we don't know what else to do. And so if you can attack to create, if you know who's going to help, you can recognize patterns of who's going to be open. There was an attack by Whitehead, an attempted dump pass to Cundy, but Desert Hills, the help side was there, and they were able to turn it over. Kick ball is called against the Warriors, and I was speaking to Jared Baker about this during your guys' game. Isaac Lyon had several deflections, and he was called for a kickball on multiple occasions. It seemed like the ball just bounced off his foot.
Yeah,
it wasn't
and
kicked.
I'm with that one right there. That ball is not intentionally kicked by any player. To me, that should just be let's let it go and play on.
Yeah, as far as I understand the rule, the kick has to be intentional, and it has to be with an attempt to give an advantage. Right there, Taylin had her foot planted, and the pass just bounced off her foot.
Right.
Ann Dunkley checks into the game, and as she's coming up on the offense, Staley attempts to pass it to her. The pass sails over her head. Six minutes to go, 5:58 to be exact, in the second quarter, and Snow Canyon trails by 7. So they have gained 2 points on the Thunder in the first 2 minutes of this quarter. So we'll see if the defense can hold again.
Here comes that back pick.
Back screen, and the shot's in. And Coach Roden's animated on the sideline. That leads me to believe that this is something he specifically worked on in practice. Staley with the three from the corner comes up short, but that was good movement from the Warrior offense.
Yeah, that was a pretty unselfish pass by Tyler to find that girl in the corner. But we want Tyler shooting that ball a little bit more. She gets into that paint. I think we need to see her taking a few jump shots down there.
Somehow Bundy rebounds, puts in a bank shot from about a 179-degree angle right there. I know you'd appreciate that as a math teacher right there, Cundy. Yeah, one of the things is it does look like the Warriors have a clear focus on attacking and then kicking out. On these attacks, another turnover on a bobbled pass by the Warriors. And Desert Hills in transition are fouled under the basket, and they will shoot 2 more. When you're an undersized team, we can preach attack the basket, attack the basket, attack the basket, but sometimes you can't coach height and size, right? So to go off of one of the comments that you just mentioned, the attacks that will open up may not be all the way to the basket. It may be an attack to the elbow. It may be an attack to the middle of the paint, and you pull up with a little 10-foot jumper. And if you knock a couple of those down, then those big post players, when they see you coming around the wing, they're going to step up to that high post, and now you can go past them and get to the basket. So that might be a point of emphasis for somebody like Tyler Mooring or Taylin Whitehead, is to jump stop in the middle right there and knock down a little short jumper.
Yeah, definitely on that. And again, turnovers kind of hurting us in the offense. We're playing against a team that we know is better. They're higher ranked. They're strong inside. Offensively, we have to do a better job of taking care of basketball, maybe even slowing the pace of this game down so we can get the shots that we want without turning the ball over, so that defensively we're not getting beat on this transition.
And that's one thing. It was always tough coaching athletes about turnovers, because sometimes the pendulum would go the other way, right? It's like, look, we got to take care of the ball, but then we'd get athletes that were so timid that they didn't want to turn the ball over, and so then we have, opportunities to hit a cutter, and we're not doing it. And obviously, as a coach, you know that none of your players want to turn the ball over. They're not trying to. But at the same time, it's almost like A quote that I would say is, are you a product of your environment, or is your environment a product of you? Are you making things happen, or are things happening to you and you're constantly responding? So one of the keys, I think, right now is the Snow Canyon players are sometimes getting caught in constant response mode. And I think if we can be controlled aggression, that would be something that benefits us. Desert Hills makes 1 of 2 free throws. They extend their lead to 12, 30-18 with 4:40 to go in the second quarter. Makari Wong on the perimeter swings the ball over to Kundi. Nice snag by her. She swings the ball over to Dunkley. Dunkley with some ball fakes swings it over to Mooring. Mooring back to Dunkley on the dribble handoff. Dunkley attacks. And that's what we were talking about there. She bobbled the ball a little bit right before. Oh, Kundi with the good steal. We've got a 1-on-4. All right, let's see what happens. Wong smartly dribbles it back out to reset the offense.
Again, we talked about this earlier. Dunkley does a great job penetrating to that basket, but instead of getting off 2 feet in the lane, she just chucks something up to the basket. You know, that's not a great high percentage shot.
Yeah, and it looked like her plan was to kind of maybe get some contact and then go up with her left hand, but then she bobbled the ball and kind of panicked a little bit. So we love the aggressive attack. It's the finishing moves that we're working on. And speaking of that, she's going to hit a 3 from the top of the key.
Notice how there's a lot more balance. That's out of the flow of the offense. Those are good shots
She
that the Warriors can be
She
taking.
came up off that cut expecting to shoot the ball. That was exactly what we were talking about. She was making things happen right there. So we can see more of that. 9-point lead for the Thunder, 30-21, 3.5 to go in the second quarter. The Warriors are back into man-to-man defense and an immediate double team on Bundy. But once she catches the ball that deep, Snow Canyon doesn't have the defenders that can contest that shot.
Just put a lid on it when they're getting that deep. The rotation up top was good, but that extra backside help, just not there. Get in there.
Tyler Mooring with a great attack. We just talked about that. The ball swings over to the perimeter. Bundy extended, trying to deflect the ball, and Tyler, quick, aggressive move, attacks with her left hand, controlled, goes up, puts the ball up through contact, and finishes. She's going to get an and 1. Lead is back to 9, 32-23. Snow Canyon gets an opportunity to cut into it a little bit here. And I believe are those Mooring's first points of the game?
They are Mooring's first points of the game.
The free throw is up and good, and Snow Canyon is up 8. Now let's look and see if we can meet the post player early and avoid her establishing position. So they're entering it to Bundy in the high post. I'm assuming she's going to look for a back cut underneath the basket. Passes out to the wing, ball screen. She rolls. Great deflection by Tapasa, and Jocelyn Olsen recovers the ball on the turnover. Wong is attacking, kicks over to the corner. Dunkley with the long, ends up being a long 2-pointer. Good-looking shot, just goes a little bit long. And Dunkley's at the races trying to recover. Desert Hills is a well-oiled machine. On a rebound, they are down the floor in a flash. Snow Canyon back across half court. Makari Wong looking dribble handoff to Mooring. She lost control of it as she was getting ready. One of the things I noticed right there, and this is something that I would attempt to coach out of players, but habits die hard, right? Most players are right-hand dominant. Makari's dribbling to her left and trying to do a dribble handoff, and she's dribbling with her right hand. And so in order to do the handoff, she has to switch hands and then do the handoff. She bobbles the ball and ends up being a double dribble right there. It's a good up and under shot.
Again, everything's right there at the basket. You know, the Warriors are doing a good job taking away that back screen off of the weak side there, but on the strong side, they kind of lost track of their man and gave her an easy little look at the basket again.
Turnover for the Warriors in the half court, and Desert Hills is back in transition. Attack on the baseline. Looks like she lost her footing. Lealau with the ball, and she's attacking. She's going to kick to the corner to Staley. Staley with the 3 from the corner. It's long. Tapasa with the rebound to the opposite corner to Mooring. Mooring's 3 is long, and Staley hits the deck pretty hard.
Looked like she banged her head as she was going in for that rebound.
And I don't believe a foul was called. I think they just called a play stoppage because she went down pretty hard.
Yeah.
And I love the fearless nature of Staley right there. She's not one of the biggest players on the floor, but she runs in there attempting to get that rebound, trying to make a winning play.
Fell there. I thought she hit her head, but it looks like they're checking her elbow. So better than a head.
Yeah.
But on that transition right there from the Warriors, I really liked how Mooring and Staley both got to the deep corners in transition. I mean, you talk about teaching transition defense. You teach the kids to get back to the paint. and not allow that layup. So by opening things up, Lealau did a great job finding that open three. That's a shot that we really need to have.
My only, and I love that. I love that shot. I thought both of them were open. I bet, though, if Coach Roden wants to watch this on film, if he goes and sees that when Lealau made that, Lealau did a great job of making the defender commit to her, which opened up Staley in the corner. And then when Lealau kicked it to the corner, both defenders ran out to the corner, leaving Lealau alone at the high post. If Staley would have caught that ball fake, immediate pass back to Lealau. It's an uncontested layup right there. Instead, we got a good-looking shot from the corner, which we're not going to complain about. But it's the thinking 2 steps ahead stuff. We do this so that we do this. And that's the same thing you were mentioning on defense. Snow Canyon has responded to Desert Hills, the back cut, the Desert Hills. But the issue there is the back cut is just the first option in Desert Hills offense. Now Desert Hills has adjusted to Snow Canyon's adjustment, and now Snow Canyon's going to have to figure it out again. So it's a constant game of catch-up, and it would be interesting to see if Snow Canyon can apply some pressure defensively to make Desert Hills play according to their will instead of continually responding.
Right there on that play, they try to run a little chin action cuts off of the Bundy girl catching at that corner. Snow Canyon does a good job keeping them out of the paint, forces them to shoot a 3-point shot. I think that's what they need to do. Force them to take some threes, see if some of these girls can make some 3-pointers rather than giving them the easy looks at the basket.
Then the other part is you got to close out the defensive possession with the rebounding.
Yep.
Everybody's got to box out, especially the guards as well. And those are probably the 7th and 8th free throws attempted off of offensive rebounds. So like we've seen Desert Hills miss shots, get their own rebound, and then get fouled on the putback attempt. Whitehead, hey, there's a good controlled attack. She pauses, reverse pivots, takes a jumper, kicks it to the opposite wing. Jocelyn Olsen for 3, knocks it down, cuts the lead to 11. Desert Hills is leading 38-27, 1:10 left in the second quarter, and Desert Hills is entering their offense. Dribble handoff to Jacobson. Jacobson enters it to Bundy.
Oh.
Bundy, the back cut to Turlington.
Yes.
And a traveling violation is called. There looked like Desert Hills was looking for a foul call, but I believe a travel was the correct call.
Rotation
she bobbled the ball.
was a little bit late for the Warriors. Had she put a bounce into that, it would have been a foul.
Yep.
But you can't just grab that ball and not put the bounce down.
Yep. All right, Whitehead with the ball, and an errant pass is now a turnover.
Again, it just looks like we're unsure how to get into this offensive, groove and rhythm that Roden wants them to do, and these easy turnovers just need to be eliminated.
Yeah, the unforced errors. There's never been, nobody's ever played a perfect game. Some people play pretty close to one. So you know that you're going to commit turnovers. As a coach, my goal, if I could have fewer than 3 a quarter or 3 a quarter, I could live with that. That was 12 a game if we were just around there. Now, also, when I was coaching, we had games where we committed in the mid-20s. Desert Hills drills a 3-pointer, but the turnovers that I was anticipating to happen were the forced turnovers. When the other team just plays, it's like I have a quote that says, sometimes the other guys do good things too, right? Like you can do everything the right way, and it just doesn't work out for you because the other team answered everything that you challenged them with.
We've got about 13 and a half seconds left here in the half, and the Thunder are up 41-27. It's that 14-point lead.
Snow Canyon getting ready to inbound from underneath their own basket. Whitehead inbounds to Olsen. Olsen swings over to Mooring. Mooring attacks Jacobson off the dribble, back to Olsen. Olsen picks up her dribble at the top of the key, gets it back to Whitehead. Whitehead attacks with 3 seconds left. Turns the ball over and then commits a foul with 0.8 of a second left in the second quarter.
And that foul is going to be a 1-on-1 bonus for the Thunder. And that's going to put, what's number 3
Sade
going to
Turlington.
the line? Turlington.
So that's a foul. Obviously, Talon wasn't intending to commit that foul. She was trying to make something happen with less than a second to go in the half. But it's also hard to stomach because it's a foul about 75 feet away from the basket that gives Desert Hills a scoring opportunity. And so those are some of the little things that we'd be looking for some improvement on.
I think Bundy's lucky she didn't get an over the back call right there to end that quarter. Could have been a little bit precarious there for Desert Hills.
Turlington goes 1 for 2 from the line to end the quarter, and the lead is 42-27 for the Thunder, a 15-point lead. So Coach Roden's going to go in and talk to the team at halftime. We're going to look to make some adjustments and see if they can remedy the turnover issues and shore up that defense and the defensive rebounding. And we're going to take a break for a minute, and we will be back in about 7 minutes to get you ready for the third quarter. All right, welcome back. Halftime, 1 minute before game time. Snow Canyon versus Desert Hills. Kundi, what are some of your thoughts after that first half?
So Snow Canyon's down 15 here at the half, and I didn't keep track of this, but just from kind of my reflection on that first half, I would say that the Warriors had probably 10 more turnovers than Desert Hills did. And if Desert Hills scored even on half of those turnovers, that's 10 of those 15 points. So we've got to be able to control,
well, and that's a double-edged sword because it's 10 of their points, but it's also 10 we didn't get, right?
True.
So,
yep. And then you look at some of the other stats. We're in this game, if you think a 15-point lead against Desert Hills is in it, because we've hit 6 threes. And it's all a product of the penetration that our guards are able to get. When they're under control and penetrating, those kickouts are open because Desert Hills is being forced to help. Desert Hills, though, because of those big posts of theirs, they got to the foul line 12 times. We only got there 4 times.
Yeah, one of the things I noticed, too, is 3 players, those post players for Desert Hills mostly, accounted for 30 of the 42 points. Ooh, physical play underneath.
Looks like Kundi tried to take a charge there.
Bundy did put her shoulder into her. They let him play underneath the basket there. Whitehead brings the ball across half court. One of the other things, nice cut. Dunkley starting the second half in place of
Mooring.
Staley.
And
Lealau starting in place of Mooring. Not sure what's going on. I see Staley on the bench. She has ice around multiple body parts, it looks like. And Mooring is not on the bench. Oh, she is. She's sitting next to Staley. I have to imagine that has something to do with her taking hitting her head in the first half.
Yeah, both of them took a little spill in the first half, so let's hope everything's okay with them.
Desert Hills in transition. Bundy with the ball at the top of the key, enters it underneath to Turlington. Turlington makes a move around the defender and puts the ball in the basket. Whitehead advances the ball for the Warriors, looking to attack off the wing. She hesitates, attacks again, back to the corner. Kundi in the corner moves the ball over to Natalie Olson. Natalie attacks, kicks out to Dunkley. Dunkley with the 3 off the front of the rim, and the rebound to Desert Hills. And the Warriors are attempting in transition defense to slow them down. Rebound to Whitehead in transition, and Whitehead hits Olson on the wing, and Olson with a spin move. Only issue with that spin move, Coach, is that she spun and ended up moving away from the basket. You got to complete that spin move, and your last step needs to be right into the middle of the paint.
Pass from Whitehead came a little late. It put Olson in a tough position, and she decided to take a tough shot. Those are one of those ones where the advantage isn't yours. Kick the ball back out and try to get something better.
I'm going to give a shout out to Ebony Lealau. It always made me chuckle. This was something that I would see when I was coaching. It's just something I never saw when I played boys basketball. But there was an offensive rebound opportunity, and there was a collision, and some bodies went down. And Snow Canyon has the ball on a breakaway opportunity, and Ebony Lealau was helping the Desert Hills player up off the ground. So, hey, I'm going to give her a shout out for being a great human right there. As a coach, I would say, hey, let's score and then go help them up.
Right. Girls are just that way, aren't they, Coach?
Yeah. They're just better. Dunkley with an attack, a good-looking left-handed shot. Ball rolls around and comes out. She's able to deflect the rebound out, and Natalie Olson drills a jumper from the elbow. Great attack by Ann Dunkley right there, and way to stay in the play to give a scoring opportunity to the Warriors.
Watching that play right there, too, I think Coach Rode might have emphasized some defensive transition in that in that halftime, because there was nobody for the Warriors there to try to get an offensive rebound.
That was
after that shot. They were all covering their own basket there.
Miscommunication right there by the Warriors, or maybe it was no communication. Livy Kundi is defending Bundy underneath the basket, and basically Desert Hills put 2 decoy post players down there that served as impromptu screens, and Kundi got screened by not only the 2 Desert Hills players, but also her own teammates who were defending their people under the basket, and Bundy goes to the opposite side and catches an easy bucket.
It looks like Coach DeNoss now, instead of cutting those back doors through that high post, is going with a little post-to-post screen action on the base there, trying to get his bigs open. Here it comes again.
Desert Hills with the 3-point opportunity, and Dunkley with the rebound, and she leaks out and smartly slows it down as the Warriors did not have numbers in that transition opportunity. Swings the ball over to Olson. Olson looking to attack. Attacks all the way to the basket, splits the defense, goes up with the right hand, looked super smooth right there. That was a great controlled attack.
Under control. Yeah, rotation a little late there.
Bundy runs the floor, gets an entry pass, and puts up a pretty acrobatic shot right there where she attacks left, gets almost behind the backboard, and then goes with her right hand off the backboard and in. And on the opposite side of the floor, Taylin Whitehead attacking the basket and looking to kick it to the corner. She is called for an offensive foul for lowering her shoulder into the defender.
Taylin is a 100-mile-an-hour athlete. I coached her in soccer, tremendous athlete. In basketball, though, you cannot be 100 miles an hour all the time. She has got to learn how to change her pace to get the defenders out of balance before she starts to get to that basket. And if she can learn to do that, then those penetration moves are going to be a little bit more productive for her.
And I like her mindset. We talked about, the product of your environment thing, and she knows she's a senior, she's a leader, she's the primary ball handler on the team, and I think she feels a responsibility to make something happen out there, especially when, you're looking at an 18-point deficit, Desert Hills leading 50-32. And
tough shot right there.
Good rebound by Whitehead.
Yes.
But that's a kick out to Leia Lau. Leia Lau over to Olsen on the opposite wing. Olsen with a one dribble pickup and then a long three-point attempt. But I agree with what you're saying about Taylin. She's got a great gift. Her speed and her agility is superior to almost anybody that she'll ever face on the court. And if she can tie that in with hesitation moves, change of pace, change of direction, it's going to be something that's deadly for her. But I don't want her to lose the mindset of making things happen. She's got to maybe make things happen in multiple ways.
Desert Hills' dominance inside starting to take effect now. That's another offensive rebound putback for them. Warriors are just having a difficult time getting some rebounds off of the missed shots.
It looks like Leia Lau hits a three-point attempt. Three-point attempts in this half have been a little bit different than the first half in that they're not necessarily coming from the flow of the offense right now. They're coming from moving the ball around the perimeter and then shooting. This is something that young athletes, this happens to them sometimes. They're looking at a big deficit. They're down 17, and 3 points is worth more than 2. And so we end up shooting a lot more three-pointers. But there's that 100-mile-an-hour speed we just talked about from Taylin Whitehead, and that was actually a great choice right there for her to continue going at that speed as Jacobson has a late rotation, and Whitehead goes right through that movement and draws a foul. She's going to take 2 free throws. Knocks the first one down.
Yep, the big thing right now, if the Warriors want to claw their way back in with about 2:57 remaining in this third quarter, they've got to figure out a way to get some offensive rebounds. You know, the last 4 or 5 possessions from Desert Hills, they've been outside shots they've taken. We just can't secure the rebound on the first one, and we're giving them the, second chances at the basket.
Yeah, that's the last component of a defensive possession is getting the rebound. And honestly, one of the things that I always felt when I was coaching, obviously I wanted to have great defense. I wanted to have a lot of deflections. That's one thing I noticed in the boys program. It seems to be a point of emphasis, a lot of deflections. It throws the other team out of the rhythm for their offense, even if you don't get the steal. Great ball movement by the Thunder and a pass. Was that from Bundy again?
It was from Bundy from up at the top.
Yeah, from the top down
we
to
were
the
in good
block.
position, just had our head turned the wrong way to try to get that steal. We can't come down and just start hoisting first pass shots.
Another three-point attempt for the Warriors, and it's not necessarily a bad shot, but it's a shot that you can get at any point in the offense. It doesn't need to be the first option. Okay, Dunkley gets the ball over to Wong. Anyway, what I was getting back to is while it's nice to get steals and deflections, most teams shoot less than 50% from the floor, which means that a great defensive possession can mean giving a shot to the opposing team. Now, we don't want to give layups, but if you give a long two-point jump shot or a contested three-pointer, you're going to miss that shot 70% of the time, which means you can get stopped 70% of the time if you can rebound.
Correct.
And so that's something that the Warriors will look to do. Traveling violation called on the Warriors on the attack right there. And Lainey Levitt back into the game defending at the top of the key. Wong now defends on the other side. The ball's entered to Jacobson. Jacobson turns and the help side defense comes over and in an attempt to block her shot, which I couldn't tell if she was going to shoot that or if she saw the help side and was lobbing it over the top to Bundy. Either way, it was going to be 2 points for the Thunder. 1:42 to go in the third quarter. Thunder lead 54-37. And the Warriors have been doing this without 2 of their starters in this half. McKenna Staley and Tyler Mooring have not entered the game. Jacobson with a bucket on a nice inbounds play
Warriors
from the
getting
Thunder.
caught on a lot of that cross-screening action on that inbounds pass.
Good attack from Olsen. Olsen kicks back to Wong. Wong goes in. Oh, and that ball almost shifted into four-wheel drive to climb up over the top of the rim.
Just about. You know, this game's starting to remind me a lot of the Pineview game where we've got some younger kids in for the Warriors, and this is an opportunity for them to start learning a little bit. Again, you've got Pineview and Desert Hills, who are definitely the cream of the crop in Region 9. The rest of those teams, probably all pretty equally, you know, from top to bottom. So if we can figure out, you know, how to score 37, 40 points a game, I think we'll win a lot of the games down there when we start playing some of these other teams in Region.
Yeah, and Cindy Mata checks into the game. She's a senior. Good to see her out on the floor right now. Wong puts up the second free throw and knocks it down. 1:23 to go, 56-38. And Desert Hills initiating their offense in the half court. Looks like Desert Hills is also playing some younger players. Jacobson gets the ball deep in the post. Turlington with the cut, kicks over to the opposite corner. Ball back to Turlington in the short corner, entered to Jacobson. Ball is tied up by Tapasa, and it will be a jump ball, and the possession arrow is going to the Warriors. So, hey, we're going to highlight a defensive stop
there there. You know, and with Tapasa, I know that the Jacobson gal is pretty good. I think she's okay doing a little three-quarter playing behind.
Yeah.
You know, force her into some tough shots down there in that post instead of letting that, you know, lob pass or that good entry come in where she can get an easy layup.
Mata attempts a three from the corner that is off the mark. Good transition defense by Lainey Levitt. She cuts off the attack. And Olsen with the ball. Moves it back to Wong. Wong advancing the ball. Thrown to Tapasa across half court. Oh, that's a little back cut right there. And that's something that with time, hopefully Tapasa learns. A bounce pass right there leads to a layup right there.
The idea is good, but she wants to make that pass before she's turned and peeked at the rim. Turn and peek, keep that balance, then make that pass.
Pocket bounce
would have
pass.
been perfect.
Okay, Snow Canyon back on defense, 30 seconds to go in the quarter. Wong defending at the top of the key. Now Tapasa is stretched out on the wing. Jacobson cuts, blocked by Tapasa, and Wong with the ball going down the sideline. Turnover, and it looks like Desert Hills leaks out. Good spin move. Misses the layup.
Another offensive board for the Thunder.
And the ball is dead in the short corner. Jacobson with the ball to the opposite corner. Now to Turlington in the opposite corner. Just off the mark, and the quarter ends with the Thunder leading 56-38. Hey, I'm just noticing a positive trend here, Kundi. The Warriors lost the first quarter by 9, the second quarter by 6, and the third quarter by 1. So if my calculations are correct, we're going to win this fourth quarter by like 10.
Let's hope so.
Yeah.
Got to put the game a little bit closer. And I'm telling you, the defense in that third quarter forced the Thunder to take some shots that weren't 3 or 4 feet from the basket. Had they been able to finish those defensive possessions with some defensive rebounds, they might have actually had a chance to decrease the lead in that quarter.
Yeah, and then it's taking advantage of the opportunities that you have, right? Like we just saw some back cut ended up being a turnover. We've seen quite a few early three-pointers in the offense, and you know what? If I'm from the girls' perspective, they're having this would be a mindset correction that I would make were I in Coach Roden's position. Some of the girls might be thinking, you know, the longer we hold the ball, the more turnovers we're committing. So the first open shot I get, that's better than any kind of a turnover. A bad shot's better than a good turnover, right? But the mindset has to be different, because the mindset has to be we need to improve what we're doing in the half court so that we don't commit turnovers, and so that, like you mentioned, when we play these other teams, we can operate confidently in the half court and competently in the half court.
And I really do like what we got out of the younger players in that half. When you've got 2 of your starters, both that are seniors on the bench, it's nice to see the younger kids coming in and being competitive against one of the tougher teams in Region 9.
Yes, Desert Hills moves the ball around the perimeter. Bundy is established deep in the post. And it looks like the Warriors are collapsing on her before she even receives the ball. And Desert Hills with an offensive rebound, a kick out, and they hit a three-pointer. Hey, you know what? We haven't done enough shout-outs for our sponsors, even though we've had a few breaks. We just want to give a shout-out to Ants Dentistry, Levitt & Associates, Bucks Ace Hardware, and Tonaquint Data Center for making this possible. What did we just see right there?
Natalie Olson just answers Desert Hills 3 with a 3 of her own. There's a nice shot in transition. Nice easy catch there on the wing. She's balanced. It's a great shot to take. Bundy's just getting positioned super deep on the Warriors right now.
You know what? And I actually think an answer to that is you're asking a lot of Olivia Cundy right there to defend solo in the post right there. And Desert Hills saw that Snow Canyon is trying to collapse both backside defenders on Bundy to de-incentivize those entry passes. But what Coach Donasa's response to that is he's now spreading out the other 4 players around the perimeter, requiring a much longer distance for the backside to go help. And I think one of the answers there is, and this is a compliment to Desert Hills, they are reversing court at will right now. And like we said, Cundy's working hard to front that post and deny that entry pass, but when the ball gets reversed to the opposite side of the court, it's moving faster than Cundy can, and by the time it gets to the other side, Bundy's sealed her on the opposite side. And it's pretty much a done deal at that point.
And she's a strong post player. She's difficult to get around. And if I wasn't up here on the mic, I'd definitely be yelling at Livy down there on the side to do a little bit better job of trying to just get in front.
Well,
force them to make a lob. It's a little bit more difficult of a pass. And like you said, you don't know what can happen. Maybe the backside help gets there, but it's better than that seal and easy little 2-foot layup.
And the other answer to that, I think, would be I think our guards can apply a little bit more pressure out on the perimeter to make those ball just slow them down. You're not going to stop those ball reversals, but instead of letting Desert Hills make straight line passes across the middle of the court, get up the court a little bit, get that inside hand up, and force those guards to catch the ball up by the volleyball line instead of at the three-point line. And that will give Olivia or whoever's defending the post the time as the ball gets reversed to get around. But right now, I think our perimeter defenders are worried about those back cuts, so they're staying deep into the paint, and that ball is moving around the perimeter at light speed, and it's just a matter of time. And that's to Desert Hills' credit. They're disciplined until they're finding the opening.
And you can tell that they know where their bread is buttered. They're getting the ball to the players that can get them the best look at the basket. And they know that if they can get it inside to Bundy or maybe even inside to Jacobson, that those two are going to be able to score almost at will against most teams that they play.
You know what? I've been impressed with what I've seen from Bundy. We've talked a lot about her ability to establish position early, but she's a very willing passer. When she gets that ball on the high post, she is hitting cutters. And you know what that does as a post player? When you start hitting your cutters, your guards, that makes them want to pass the ball to you a lot more. And you know, life's hard for a post. You don't get to bring the ball down the floor. You depend on everybody else to get you the ball. But if you're a willing passer, now those guards can't wait to get you the ball because they get easy layups off of your cuts.
Very true.
Leia Lau rattles a three. It goes halfway down and out. Should count for a point and a half, but it doesn't.
Roden came out of that timeout, went to a zone look, which has made things a little bit tougher these last 2 possessions for Desert Hills to get things in. And that's 2 turnovers in a row for Desert Hills trying to figure out the zone that Coach Roden moved into.
And before that, Ann Dunkley knocked down a free throw, so the lead is 61-43 for the Thunder with 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Taylin Whitehead calling for a high ball screen. She goes around it and attacks the basket, gathers herself. Not a terrible-looking shot. Maybe a jump stop and a jump shot from the elbow right there is the better opportunity. But like I said, I like the speed at which she attacked right there.
Yep. And again, just getting under control when you get close to the basket. There's times where you go with that layup, but a majority of the time you want to be off 2 feet when you're in the paint. Have some balance. Give yourself some options to do some things. That right there, great 2-foot jump stop.
The ball goes in for Leia Lau.
There. Nice little 2-point basket.
There's a couple of things that I'm noticing here, though, too. Like, for example, on Taylin's attack, and fan just got hit in the head by the basketball. On Taylin's attack right there, she beat. Okay, so Cundy comes up and sets the high ball screen. Taylin goes around it. It forces a switch from Desert Hills, but Taylin's already got the advantage because the switch is coming late, right? Well, Taylin's original defender is now behind her trying to catch up, and Cundy's rolling to the basket. But she wasn't open early because Bundy's underneath the basket. By the time Bundy stepped over, at that point, if Taylin recognizes that, she's got a pocket pass for a layup to Cundy. And it was the same thing on Leia Lau's attack right after that. Taylin attacks, kicks it to the corner, out to Leia Lau. Leia Lau attacks and draws all of the defenders. Whitehead is back in the opposite corner by herself. And those are the three-pointers that we would love to be taking.
And one of those catch-22s, we made a lot of threes in the first half, so now when it gets kicked out, well, we're hot, we're going to shoot, and they don't necessarily look for that easier basket at the basket like you're saying, underneath the hoop. Warrior zone is looking pretty good right now. They forced 3 turnovers in a row for the Thunder, and the Thunder are moving the ball around the perimeter here, struggling a little bit.
This is that 1-2-2. There's a good answer from Desert Hills. Bundy puts the ball in. But what I like this defense a lot when I was coaching with Coach Roden. We call it monster, and you can pay attention to that guard at the top of the key. Great attack. Oh, there we go. Ooh, great attack by Dunkley. Cundy with the rebound, and I'm not sure if the ball slipped or if she just forgot to use the backboard right there.
We're gonna say it slipped.
Yeah, I think it actually did. The ball went straight up in the air. It usually doesn't do that. Good transition. Hey, that's, I think, our first transition points for the Warriors in the game, and it came from solid defense again. But this is called this defense is called monster. You can see Dunkley's at the top of the key right now, but as soon as that ball's passed to the wing, she now has to defend the post, and she's going to end up, if it goes to one more, she's now underneath, and that's called the monster because she's supposed to terrorize those post offensive players.
What I like about the zone that the Warriors have moved to is their hands seem to be a lot more active than they were when they were playing man. And it really has forced some difficult shots for the Thunder.
Whitehead knocks down she attacks to the elbow, jump stops, her defender flies right by her, and Taylin puts up a shot. And we're back on defense. The last 2 possessions, Desert Hills has found an answer to this, so we'll see if Snow Canyon can respond to it. Taylin is now the monster, and we're gonna rotate out. It looks like the answer is they're putting Bundy in the high post, and then she's doing a delayed dive down to the block when the ball's on the wing. Ball is skipped over to the other wing. The guards are now starting to attack. They can see that the attention is going to Bundy, and that's an advantage right there when you have a post player like that. The guards are free to attack and shoot at will because likely the offensive rebound is going to the biggest post player in the basket.
You can see here, like you were talking earlier, the Thunder have figured out against this zone, we've got to reverse it to the other side, and on that reversal, that's when you see Bundy stepping in to try to seal that backside of the zone.
They're basically forcing 2-on-1s right there, and the defense has to choose who they're going to defend. Desert Hills, I'm going to give them another shout out. Their inbound plays have worked like a charm. They're getting open shots on every one of them. A lot of times people think an inbound play is just designed to get the ball inbounds, but inbounds from underneath your own basket. Oh, another 3 rattles in and out for Jocelyn Olsen. But inbound plays under your own basket, you want to score on those, and Desert Hills has designed plays that are creating baskets for them.
They do a great job setting screens for each other on the inside on those inbounds plays.
Long 3-point attempt from the Thunder, and Jocelyn Olsen, I mean, give her credit for her effort right there, going up for a rebound. But long shots make long rebounds, and what I would have liked to have seen is when that shot went up, instead of looking at the ball, and this isn't just Jocelyn, a lot of athletes do this, the shot goes up, everybody watches the ball go to the basket, the ball bounces off, everybody's watching the ball. One of the toughest skills is once the ball's going, it's going, you know where it's going. It's not going to change directions in the air. So what you need to do is you need to go look for a person to box out, find that person, and then go relocate the ball. But it's like in volleyball, we would say the ball knows angles.
Right.
Nice attack by Natalie Olsen, a little Euro step, finishes with off the backboard.
I think you were talking about this against the Pineview game. A lot of times when you're watching girls basketball, jumping for rebounds is a challenge. And so if you're going to be a good rebounder, you have to find that position so that ball can come right into your, right into your sweet spot.
Well, and yeah, and a lot of times it's a scrum down there, and it's like a crapshoot. Are we allowed to say that on here?
YouTube TV.
Yeah, YouTube. These views are my own. Represent myself, and are in no way representative of Snow Canyon High School. But yeah, it's like we want to control that situation, and so yeah, even in boys basketball when I played, my goal was to get a rebound without jumping. I wanted to box my guy out so that the ball was in front of me, and I could hold them off and grab the ball with my other arm. Now I was also a 5'11" guard, so the opportunities I had to rebound. I was also the 13th man on a 12-man team, so I got a lot of rebounds in my mind while I was watching the game from the bench. Desert Hills in transition, kicks the ball out to the perimeter. Bundy with another rebound. Cundy's working hard down there. It's just
she's just strong. She's
yeah.
just pushing us right under that basket so that she has an easy little rebound put back right there.
And this is when you try to get tricky as a rebounder. You're unlikely when you box out to move her. So what you try to do then is maybe start off in front of her and then do a reverse spin and pin her under the basket and hope that you can get the rebound on the other side. 3-point attempt for Jocelyn Olsen's a little long. We have 55 seconds left in the game, and the Thunder lead by 20, 71-51. And a timeout is called by the Thunder, and there will be some substitutions, some girls getting ready to enter the game. You mentioned this before, Cundy, on defense, that zone, we saw a little bit of life in the Warriors when they switched to that zone. So we love that even though the game was pretty much, decided, halfway through the fourth quarter, one of the things that I was always proud about with Warrior teams is they play to the end. They don't quit. So whether you're winning or losing, you got the spirit of a Warrior right there. What are some things that you've liked from this fourth quarter?
Early in the fourth quarter, I did like the activity that they had on defense with their hands. They were getting some deflections, causing some turnovers. Once Desert Hills figured some things out, though, again, we just get in trouble not being able to keep, girls like Jacobson and Bundy off of the glass. And those second chance points, probably one of the major differences in tonight's game.
Yeah, and we talked about this in the first half. I mean, the stat sheet might not show a lot of offensive rebounds. Maybe it does now after the second half. But in the first half, there wasn't a lot of offensive rebounds, but it's because most of the shot attempts were from right under the basket. So the shift to the zone did force Desert Hills to be a little bit scattered. But like any good team, they respond to the adjustments, and then they figure out every defense is going to have a weakness. So there's no like magic button that you push, and now you've got this lockdown defense. So you're always going to have to be playing with your head and your athleticism as well. Snow Canyon, Cindy Mata attacks the basket. Great feed from Lainey Levitt. Cindy attacks with her left hand, switches back over to the right, and puts 2 points in for the Warriors.
It was a well-executed play coming out of that timeout from the Warriors right there.
There's an attack from the Thunder, and Coach DeNoss with an 18-point lead about lost his mind on that play. And I can't say that I disagree with him. There was a collision, and somebody went down, and the whistle came about 10 seconds after that happened. Lainey Levitt with the attack, gets her own rebound. Shots blocked, and that will do it from Desert Hills. Snow Canyon falls to the Thunder 71-53, and they go to 0-3 in region, and Desert Hills goes to 3-0. What are some of your final thoughts, Coach Cundy?
I really like how well we shot the ball from beyond the arc today. If we can hit some threes like that and then just figure out how to get some defensive rebounding, scoring 53 points, like you said, in a girls' game, that's going to be a hard thing to beat if you can do a little bit better on that defensive end.
That was always our goal. 12 points a quarter would be 48 points a game, and just the statistics throughout the state showed that most teams that averaged 48 points were winning more than they were losing. Now, at the other end, you don't want to give up more than that, obviously. So my goal was always hold them to 10 points or less in the quarter and score 12 points or more each quarter. Thank you, everybody, for being with us tonight. And we are going to be back tomorrow for the boys' game, also here at Desert Hills. Tell everybody